is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my next top 10. Yesterday I did my top 10 best undrafted free agents, and today I want to do another football video. Seems to be the last few days I've done nothing but football, but I wanted to do my early Super Bowl odds, basically my 10 most likely teams to win the Super Bowl in 2017. I said kind of another way too early video. So start at number 10, and I've got the Indianapolis Colts. 1, my personal favorite team. 2, I think it's hard to get worse than they were last year with Andrew Luck leading the team. As long as Andrew Luck's able to stay healthy, they are able to build a good offensive line. One thing I heard a couple days ago is actually kind of funny, but it was kind of sad at the same time, and it's kind of true. I can't remember who it was, but someone said that it looked like the Colts' defensive line was built to be a flag football team, and that's kind of what it looked like in 2015. And they do have a few holes to address, but this is a team 1 year removed from being in the conference championship, so they can do it. And number 9, I got the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that was a heartbreaking drive and a heartbreaking penalty away from making it to the second round of the playoffs this year. And for me, it's just hard to see the Cincinnati Bengals actually winning a Super Bowl as long as Marvin Lewis is there. They can't even win a playoff game, let alone make it to a Super Bowl. So at number 8, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. Kind of feel shitty about saying that about the Bengals. So basically, they do have a lot of talent. They got a lot of talent returning. I've explained that in multiple videos, and they probably will have a solid regular season. But again, what I just mentioned. So at number 8, I got the Baltimore Ravens. So probably the worst team on this list from 2015. But me and a lot of other people have confidence in them to be able to put together a solid season in 2016. And I truly believe they can do it if Joe Flacco is able to stay healthy. They're probably going to need to restructure his deal. If they're able to find another quality receiver and then a quality corner, I think you're looking at a Super Bowl contender once again. And I actually see them doing all those things this offseason. So move on to number 7. I've got the Arizona Cardinals. So the Arizona Cardinals obviously had a very solid 2015-2016 season. They were able to make it to a conference championship. Kind of got destroyed in the conference championship. Carson Palmer let his inner Bengal out, and like I said, the Panthers really were able to run over the Cardinals. But again, it's still a conference championship team, and it's still a team that is returning a lot of pieces next year that were part of their core from this previous year. They are getting a little bit old, but again, this is still an extremely competitive team, and a team that has a set of running backs that I think will be a lot better next year. David Johnson looks like he has a lot of promise. So move on to number 6. I got the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks obviously kind of had a disappointing 2015. They were able to make it to the second round of the playoffs, and really got shut down there. I don't know. It's hard to see where the Seahawks are headed in the future now. Seems like they're just kind of hanging on to a few pieces that were left from the 2014 Super Bowl team. And you're now down Marshawn Lynch. Thomas Rawls does look solid, but again, that's not a sure thing. They need another receiver, that's for sure. Russell Wilson is getting better by the year, which is good, but again, it seems like they're losing more and more core defensive pieces as the years go along, and Cam Chancellor might be the next domino to fall there. So, but I still can see them as a Super Bowl contender. They're still one of the most talented teams in the league. So move on to number 5, got the Green Bay Packers, and obviously for one reason, as long as Aaron Rodgers is still there, they will be a Super Bowl contender year in and year out. So this is a team that was inconsistent around Aaron Rodgers, to say the least, this year. Eddie Lacy obviously put on some weight, had a rough year. If he rebounds in 2016, that just makes it easier for the Packers. Jordy Nelson obviously went down to injury, so they should have him back this following year after they, in my opinion, had a few guys emerge if they are going to hang on to James Jones this time. He was actually a pretty solid weapon this past year. Obviously, Randall Cobb had another solid year. He's a very good wide receiver as well. So move on to number 4. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers were kind of a dark horse heading into the playoffs this past year, and a lot of people felt like they were one of the better value picks to win the Super Bowl this past year, and they do obviously have a lot of weapons. Had a lot of running back injuries this year, D'Angelo Williams and Le'Veon Bell mainly, and obviously have the best wide receiver in the NFL now with Antonio Brown. Now, obviously, Big Ben, you got to come back, have another solid year. If the defense can improve, it's going to be a very dangerous team in 2016. So, my number 3 team is the former Super Bowl champion, the Denver Broncos. Now, I think the Broncos are going to regress a little bit defensively. Now, I could actually see this going both ways. They do have a very good young core that could get even better next year, but again, it's hard to maintain a number 1 overall defense because then offenses prepare for you even that much more. For me, they're obviously going to re-sign Von Miller, have him come back. The emergence of defensive tackle Malik Jackson was something that was huge for the Broncos this year, but I don't think they're going to be able to hang on to him. And that's going to hurt big time, but I still think this is a Broncos defense that is going to be fantastic next year. Obviously, you're going to be going in a new direction with probably Brock Osweiler. I mentioned this in a lot of videos. They're probably going to stay with Brock Osweiler. I like to say it's about a 90% chance. But in the case they do look in another direction, they still do have a solid offensive core built around whatever quarterback they run with in the future, and that includes, obviously, C.J. Anderson at running back. I say that they need to get one more running back just to be solid in the future. C.J. Anderson finished with a good year, definitely produced down the stretch and was very good in the playoffs, but Ronnie Hillman was not what he was expected to be, especially this year. I had a very rough playoff stretch, and I don't believe he'll be coming back to the Broncos. In my mock drafts, I've had them taking Ezekiel Elliott, but anyway, digress from all that. So I do think the Broncos are going to be a very solid team next year, but I don't think they're the Super Bowl favorite. So number 2, I've got the Carolina Panthers, and I think the Panthers return as talented team as anyone coming back in 2016. They are a team that will probably be bringing back Josh Norman. Obviously, have one of the best linebacking duos in NFL, in the NFL with John Beeson and Thomas Davis. And the entire defense, I think, will be just as dominant as this past year. The one thing that needs to stay consistent is the running game. Obviously, it's been very inconsistent since Jonathan Stewart came into the league, so 7-8 years now. It's weird that it's been that long, but and obviously Cam Newton's got to be solid again. Don't know if he's going to be able to put up the same numbers he was this season, but anything close and he'll still be extremely effective. So that leads me into my number 1, and pretty obvious at this point, I have the New England Patriots. So obviously the New England Patriots, 2 points away from, it's technically 3, from making it back to the Super Bowl. And obviously for Patriots, that's kind of a heartbreaking defeat. Watching your former Super Bowl champions lose that way on the road, but this is a team coming back in 2016 that I think will be extremely motivated to get another Super Bowl under their belt. Tom Brady obviously getting up there in age, but he can still ball, can definitely still toss the ball around wherever it needs to go on the field. He's still got a very solid receiving, well, I wouldn't say extremely solid receiving core, and obviously he's got Gronk. For me, it's up to the health of the wide receivers for how good the receiving core is next year. I think it's a receiving core that was massively improved this year. Amendola was healthy for a little bit. Julian Edelman had a pretty solid year. He's developing into one of the better receivers in the NFL. And I don't know, maybe they can pick someone up in the draft. There's been talk of Anquan Bolden going to the Patriots too. So I do think that they're the favorites. If you look at a lot of lists, they are the favorites as well. So that pretty much concludes my top 10. There's actually quite a few of way too early Super Bowl odds lists out, and I'll put the link to a couple of, maybe the one that I looked at the most in the description below. Most have Panthers, Patriots as the favorite heading into next year. Those are pretty much the common favorites. If you've been looking at the list, you probably know that. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun video to do. This is something I like talking about. Just the way too early things. Obviously, not much of these odds have any merit yet, but it's cool to speculate about the upcoming season. So, if you think there's a team you think will be good in the Super Bowl that will be making the Super Bowl this year, kind of a dark horse. I always like to hear what people's dark horse predictions are, or just what you think what team will win the Super Bowl next year. Definitely put that in the comments below. Also, if you have not seen yesterday's top 10 video, if you want to go check out any of the other top 10 videos, I'll put the link to that entire playlist in the description below. So that's pretty much it. And sleepers to watch, the NFL Draft Combine, or just top 10 players to watch. And today I wanted to do my top 10 free agents coming up. So these are my top 10 unrestricted free agents. Not necessarily guys that I think are going to go to different teams, but just guys that their contracts are running out and guys that are making headlines right now. So start